Today I'm going to talk about a type of promotional campaign that video game companies don't really do anymore. This type of promotional campaign was quite common during the late 80s to mid 90s, and Sega was very into these campaigns. You ever heard of the Sega Roadshows? These were huge events held in the United Kingdom during the early to mid 90s. They were attended by thousands of people over the course of several months. Very little media outside of a handful of photographs and documented accounts exist online, and there's even less video of these events available. Fortunately, I've managed to dig up some photographs and even some very obscure video taken at these events, so hopefully this video may prompt others out there to rummage through their old home movies and photo albums, because I bet there's a lot more out there compared to what we've got. So get your hype train replacement bus tickets, ladies and gentlemen. This is the story of the Sega Roadshows. In 1992, Sega began the Sega on the Road tour, which would run until the end of 1994, and was probably the most well known of the many roadshow events that they did. The campaign was designed to try and get people interested in Sega by taking the latest Sega consoles and software directly to potential customers for them to try out. When the campaign first ran in 1992, the buses heavily promoted Sonic 2. It's unclear if you could play the game early before release on these buses, but it was definitely available to play the following year in 1993, and this was also the year that the Mega CD joined the list of installed systems that you could play if you actually boarded the bus. The buses themselves looked amazingly cool from the outside. Each bus was decorated with large graphics of Sonic, Sonic 2, ToeJam and Earl, Kid Chameleon, and even Tails was on the side of the bus, including this really bad early artwork of Tails. So you found out about these roadshow events, and the next question was, where could you catch the Sega bus? Well, there were 3 double-decker buses in total, and they toured a few major cities in the UK, such as London and Edinburgh. But they were most commonly found in the car parks at various theme parks and fairs and other big events around the UK during the years of 1992, 93 and 94. During the months of June and July, the buses would often tour theme parks and other big outdoor summer events. But outside of the summer months, the buses would also visit select schools around the UK. The video you're looking at right now is of a bus that visited one of the lucky schools. No, it didn't visit my school. Other times the bus would accompany big events like the Radio 1 and Capital FM Summer Show. Whenever a roadshow event was held, a makeshift Sega bus stop would be placed down to mark the spot that the bus would eventually arrive at, which was also an advert for Sonic 2. Sega also helped promote the event by linking up with several local radio shows, which would also advertise that the bus was coming to town. And one such broadcast has actually survived the years, because it's included on a promotional schools competition video that Sega released in 1993. And this is what it sounded like.
That the word is being spread even further. On air.
For more mind-blowing action, check out the Sega bus around town, crammed with the latest Mega Drive and Mega CD games. The ultimate in real-life action-packed gameplay is here this Easter with Piccadilly Key 103 and the Sega Mega CD.
Whilst the full game list isn't known, we do know from video footage and accounts from people who went on the bus back in the day that you could play Sonic 1, Sonic 2, Kid Chameleon, Golden Axe, Alien 3, as well as a couple of sports titles, and according to some released press material, Sega had Mega Drives, Master Systems, and even Game Gears installed on the bus. Anyone who boarded or just attended the roadshow was given a Sega goodie bag, though I have no idea what was inside. The following year, in 1993, the Mega CD was also added to the list of available systems to play. The Roadshow also had a new competition which was held on the upper deck of the bus. When the next group of players were brought onto the bus and took upstairs, they had 5 minutes to play Sonic 2 and get the highest score possible in a round. If they succeeded, they won a certificate and a t-shirt based on the Pirate TV Sega adverts, which were incredibly popular at the time. YouTube user Michael Dells uploaded a recording of himself attending the roadshow and showing off his prize from the time. Sadly, the quality of the recording is very poor, but you can clearly see the t-shirt, as well as a certificate and some other footage of the outside of the bus. Despite this, we do have one very good image of the certificate. Instagram user Sonic Ute uploaded his certificate which he won from beating the Sega Challenge back in the day. However, he did decide to decorate it with Street Fighter 2 stickers, so that's a thing he did. I would imagine if you got this as a kid, it would be really cool and you'd be just blown away, because I'm an adult now and I think that certificate is amazingly cool. The final year of the On the Road Roadshow was 1994, and unfortunately we don't have very much information as to what new things are added to the buses for this year. However, according to the Sega Invades Your Homework video, the Sonic 2 competition returned, but this time the top 10 players in the UK would get the chance to come back and compete at the 1994 Sega UK Challenge. And if you want to know what the 1994 UK Challenge was, join the club. I cannot find anything about this event outside of the details from the homework video. Another major event that the Roadshow attended was the Future Entertainment Expo in 1994 at the London Olympia Convention Hall. Sega had a large presence at this event anyway, by trying to flog all their consoles, I presume. And I was able to find another photo of the bus from 1994 at another event which was held at a public area outside. So I'm going to mention this next one just briefly because it wasn't a roadshow event, but it did drive around the city of London for a while as part of a promotional campaign. In 2011, Sega and Nintendo commissioned an old London Routemaster bus to be decorated with Mario and Sonic material to help promote the then upcoming Mario and Sonic at the London Olympic Games video game tie-in. And for some reason, in 2006, this got commissioned. The Sonic 06 bus. Yeah, no further questions, Your Honour. And here we have another old London Routemaster bus with what appears to be a roadshow promotional event called Metromania. Only this wasn't a public promotional event, but it's such an odd story, I think I should probably mention it. When I saw this, I was really confused. I thought, what on earth was Metromania? I don't remember hearing about this. Yet, here was a London bus driving around with all this really nice looking Sonic artwork on the side, so I thought this must have been something pretty big. Well, it turns out that in 2017, Sega were doing their annual Sega Europe Summer Party, and they actually hired a London Routemaster bus and even had it decorated with Sonic imagery and the name Metromania in order to take their employees at Sega London on a bunch of activities for the Sega Summer Party. And since the graphics were actually left on the bus after the party was over, it was occasionally spotted by bus enthusiasts and other tourists who happened to see it as it was driving around London for completely unrelated events, but still sporting the Metromania artwork that was on the side. So yeah, that's an interesting one. Since I've kind of gone on to the world of Sega promotional buses, I might as well mention this one. In 1995, at the Macy's Thanksgiving Parade, they had their usual giant Sonic balloon, but this time, to help promote the Sega Pico, they had the Sega Pico bus. It's just a small yellow bus with blobs of paint on it designed to promote Sega's newest console at the time, the Sega Pico. I don't know if this bus attended anything other than this event. In fact, this is the only footage or any media, in fact, that I can find of the bus. But one interesting side note is they actually had a mascot character of the Pico Kid. You know, that kid that was on all the Sega Pico commercials and the boxes for the games? Yeah, that guy. And his name was... I know I've got it here somewhere. Just one moment. Hey, Dad! Yeah, you remember the Sega Pico? That weird kid that was on the box? Yeah, the one with the massive forehead. Yeah, what was his name? You don't know? Does anyone know? What do you mean, go do the dishes? Okay, jokes aside here, who is this character? He's on everything Sega Pico related, and I know this has kind of gone off topic just a little bit, but who is he? He's in adverts, he's on the game boxes themselves. Who is this character? I can't find any reference to his name anywhere, and nobody seems to know who he is. Anyway, that's another mystery. Let's move on to the next thing. The second roadshow which Sega put on was held in 1995, and it was entitled Sega Into Action Tour. Yes, they had a number 2 there instead of the word. The events were similar to the ones held in previous years. The buses would travel around the UK and stop at various public events, theme parks and other large cities. Only this time, they used completely different buses and completely redecorated them and changed what games and consoles would be available inside. This time around, they would offer guests the chance to play Mega Drives, Mega CDs and the 32X. The list of games also expanded. This time people had the chance to play Striker, Rise Star, Toy Story, Virtua Racing Deluxe, Metalhead and Knuckles Chaotix. The Upper Deck competition also returned, but this time it was a Beat the Challenge event, meaning if you got a higher score than the one that was set by the Sega team, you'd win an exclusive Sega-themed t-shirt, and as with the previous events, everyone that turned up to the bus would also get a goodie bag. But unlike the previous events, the Roadshow also offered guests the chance to actually meet the various Sonic characters, and in the pages of Sonic the Comic, one advert promised that Knuckles would attend the Roadshow events to help promote Knuckles Chaotix, and to promote a healthy living campaign that he was involved with at the time. Yeah, this promotion had a really weird side campaign. In 1994, Sega started a year-long anti-smoking campaign in partnership with the British government and the NHS. This saw Knuckles the Echidna punching a packet of cigarettes. The campaign was mentioned in magazines, and stickers of the image also appeared on various Sega games between 1994 and 1995, and for reasons I don't understand, they also put large adverts for this health campaign on the side of the buses. You can see 2 separate examples of the campaign on the bus itself, but I did actually find this image quite funny. The anti-smoking message that was placed on the bus was placed in what looks like a speech bubble from a comic book panel, and when you look at this press picture of Knuckles you can see why. It's because they've carefully positioned him so it looks like he's actually delivering the anti-smoking message. Only in this issue of Sonic the Comic they placed this Meet Knuckles signage over the top of it. And there's also another large anti-smoking advert just behind Knuckles in the same photo. You can't say they didn't try with this health message. Sadly, absolutely no video of the bus exists. Even outside of official press material, only a handful of photographs still exist, like this one, which someone decided to Photoshop Flicky's Island Sonic's head over. Why? According to accounts from others that actually went on both the Sega on the Road and the Interaction Roadshows, it seemed that some buses actually still had Game Gears to play, despite the fact they were becoming less available in the shops. Each bus also had a different selection of games, so your enjoyment would likely vary greatly depending on the event you attended and which bus actually turned up. For example, one account states that the prize for beating the Sega Challenge was a t-shirt and some stickers, but another claims that the prize was actually a t-shirt and some Sonic and Knuckles dog tags. Another account claims that Knuckles Chaotix wasn't on the bus that they visited, despite the fact they attended the 1995 Roadshow, which had Knuckles Chaotix material all over it. And some people claim that despite the fact that Sonic mascot characters would also be at these events, when they went to them, Sonic and Tails weren't even there. Yet some other people claim that Sonic and Tails did indeed turn up to some events. So again, whichever event you went to, it was just down to pure luck if a Sonic and Tails mascot character turned up. And absolutely nobody that went to the 1995 event has ever seen the Knuckles mascot character, despite the fact there was his health campaign all over the bus, and they were trying to actively promote the 32X and Knuckles Chaotix, which was their big game at the time. So I mentioned right at the start of the video that it was believed that the Sega on the Road Roadshow was the first tour that Sega did, but then I found this curious image. This was found on a website for a graphic designer based in Belgium, so I'm guessing it originates from there. It appears to be a much smaller Sega Roadshow, but if you look closer, you'll see a few really odd things for 1995. First of all, the logo is just in action, not into action, and as we all know, naming a sequel with the number 2 is a common trope for sequels to things. And if you look closer at what they're actually playing, you'll see that this Roadshow is just Master System consoles and games. But even a year earlier in 1994, the Master System, whilst it was still on sale, certainly wasn't being promoted anywhere near as much as the other systems, and several stores had stopped selling it by then. And both the larger roadshows, which I've talked about so far, never advertised the Master System as being a system you could play at these events. So could this picture be evidence of the first actual Sega Roadshow event, one that predates 1992? And it would explain as well the number 2 being in the name for the 1995 show. Unfortunately, there's no other information to go along with this picture, so it might be a while before we find out. Following the conclusion of the 1995 Roadshow, Sega never undertook another Roadshow event like it again, but at least one of the buses that appeared at the 1995 event was still being used up until at least 1999 in a very unexpected way. This photograph was taken just before the turn of the millennium, and you might have noticed that a lot of the decorations around the windows have been removed. Well, there's a reason for this, because this particular bus ended up in double-decker bus racing. Yeah, this is a thing that people do with old double-decker buses, apparently. I had no idea this was an actual racing event that people do, but there it is! Unfortunately, there's no footage of the actual Sega bus racing, which is a shame, because that would be hilarious. So after the bus retired from the racing circuit, what do you think happened to it? Well, what do you do with everything that you don't want anymore? You put it on eBay. Yeah, the bus actually ended up being sold for around £1,600 on eBay around 6 years ago, which is insanely wild when you think about it. Unfortunately, the fate of all the other buses is completely unknown, but I would hazard a guess that most of them were either redecorated, or given the age of the buses now, it's almost certain that they've been scrapped for parts. So that's all I can tell you about these events. I can remember reading video game magazines about these at the time, and back then I can remember hoping that these roadshows would come to my town. Unfortunately for me, they never did. When I was a kid, I would have loved to have gone on one of these buses. At the time, I thought the roadshows looked really cool. But what about you guys? Were any of you lucky enough to go on one of these? If so, please let me know what it was like in the comments. And if anyone out there has any photos or videos of these events, because despite these events running for nearly half a decade, there's very little information out there from actual people that went on them. And the 1995 event, we've got no video footage of it. There must be something. So if you've got something somewhere in an attic or in an old photo album, upload it and let us all know in the comments if you've got it or not. What about the rest of you? If this Sega bus rolled into town, would you be waiting at the bus stop with your ticket in hand? Let me know in the comments. See you next time. Hey guys, thanks for checking out my video. If you found this video interesting and enjoyed it, please click that like and subscribe button. And if you know anybody else who might be interested, please share it with your fellow friends and minions. If you want to continue the adventures, you can follow me on Twitter and Instagram. And if you'd like to support the work I do further, please consider backing me on Patreon. Or if you'd just like to make a one-off donation, why not treat me to a coffee? Links to both are in the video description. Even the smallest donation is a huge help to keeping this channel going. But most of all, just thank you for taking the time out to watch this video and enjoy the work I do. It really does mean the world to me. Thank you.